We've worked a lot with the 392 motor on Challengers and Chargers and Grand Cherokees, and obviously we've made quite a few Wrangler systems over the years. So we were pretty excited when they decided to put a 392 in a Wrangler. When the vehicle showed up, we noticed right away that the exhaust system was much more complicated than a typical Wrangler system, and really excited to show you guys what we finally decided to do. But first I thought I'd show you a little bit about the stock system, because there's some really cool features about this that we wanted to incorporate in our exhaust system, and then there were some particular things we thought we could improve upon as well. And so one of the first things we noticed is that the inlet pipes are going into the can of the muffler, and so this is typically something we don't do here at Borla. As a matter of fact, we kind of have a hard rule that we don't do this, and so we knew that we wanted the inlet pipes to go into the end caps, and the reason for that is primarily durability. We know that you guys are going to drive these Wranglers hard, off-road, rock crawling, and our systems have a 1,000,000-mile warranty, so they have to last. And one of the ways we ensure that is that we put the inlet pipes and the outlet pipes through the end caps. So that was very important. Another thing that we noticed obviously right away is that this is a bimodal system, and it has 4 tips on it, which is definitely unusual for a Wrangler system. Typically they have 1 tip from the factory, and the position of the tips was a little dubious for us. We were kind of concerned about the factory positions in off-roading, and we noticed that they have clamps on these tips, and we think that one of the reasons for that is to be able to take these tips off when you go off-roading to, for better clearance, your angle of departure and whatnot. So we wanted to find a place where you wouldn't have to take your tips off and you could still go drive hard off-road and not have to worry about it. So that was something else that was very important to us. And this, being a bimodal system, you'll see these gigantic vacuum actuators here. This is kind of older technology. The majority of bimodal systems that we're working on now are active systems, have electric actuators that are controlled by a computer as opposed to a mechanical vacuum operation like this. And we really wanted to be able to reuse the factory actuators. The actuators are very expensive, so to have to source 2 new actuators to put on our systems was going to really drive the cost up. So reusing the factory actuators was something we really wanted to do. And one of the things you have to be concerned about with a bimodal system is that in both positions you want to make sure that we're outflowing the factory system. That's an expectation of Borla, is that we're going to outflow the factory system. So you'll see here the Sharpie writing is the factory flow characteristics in both the open and closed positions. And we ensured that our system outflows the factory. It is a dual system, so that's another thing about it that's a little bit unusual from a Wrangler. You do have 2 pipes coming all the way down the center of the vehicle, so it gave us a lot of room to incorporate some more of our technology, and I'm going to show you that right now. We're now underneath the Wrangler 392, and I wanted to start by showing you where the factory catalytic converters are. They're right here in this position, and we left all of the factory emissions control devices in their original location. So this is all factory piping in the front section here, including this crossover pipe here. And we elected to make a catback for this vehicle as opposed to a rear section because it gave us the opportunity to work with the midsection of the exhaust, so we didn't have to get it all done with the rear section. And the original exhaust system has an X-pipe in this location. It's a stamped X-pipe. And so we've elected to put our switchfire technology in here. It's a patented X-pipe technology that we have. It outflows the stock X-pipe. It's going to make a little bit more power, but more importantly, it sounds very unique. So a lot of the unique sound that you're going to hear from this vehicle comes from the switchfire technology. And if you want to learn more about the switchfire technology, we made a separate video, so you can go check that out if you want to learn about the patents involved with this technology. Behind the X-pipe on the factory system, they have a larger muffler here with 2 inlets and 2 outlets. We've tuned this system with 2 smaller mufflers. Again, that's just part of how we're tuning the sound and ensuring that we're getting more power and more flow than the factory system. From here, it goes up and over the axle into the rear section, which I'm going to show you next. So I've now moved to the rear of the vehicle, and here you have the over axle pipes connecting to the Borla rear section. You can see the connection point really clearly here because it goes from the raw finish to the black finish for the rear section.
And here you see the Borla valves. You get a really good shot of the Borla valves, and above you can see the factory vacuum actuators that I talked about earlier. And you can see that here's your inlet, and these larger pipes here with these valves are primarily straight pipes when you get to the rear. And the reason for that is because we've done so much tuning with our switchfire and those little mufflers that you saw back there that in the loud position, we really didn't need any more attenuation. And we know that when it is in the loud position, this motor sounds so good. We know that you guys want to really hear it. So we didn't want to attenuate it anymore. So it's a really free-flowing kind of open system here in the back. When the valves close, you can see that all the gases and the sound waves are now forced into the muffler. And that's where you get all of the attenuation for the closed position. So when you push that button and the valves close, you get this really great noticeable delta between the loud position and the quiet position. That was something that we felt was very important. We always want to make sure that we improve on the factory system in both positions. It's not just a quiet position to be quiet. We want it to be quiet and good. We want it to be loud and good as well. And we really achieved that with this system. From this perspective, you get a really good look at the muffler position and the position of the tips. You see we have a tow package here and a tow hook, and we really wanted to find a position for the tips, as I mentioned before, where you wouldn't have to remove them to go off-roading and you wouldn't have any clearance issues. So this tip position is really important. It looks great when the vehicle's on the ground. We were able to keep the 4 tips there, so it has that look, but you're not going to have any issues with off-roading, and you won't have any issues with clamps or loosening or tips falling off. This is a really durable system. Same thing with the muffler position. Obviously, we took into account not only clearance of critical components of the vehicle itself so that you can still use the tow package and the tow hook, but also clearance for off-roading as well. And you also get a really good shot here at the Borla valves. Once again, the position of the Borla valves. Thanks for taking the time to see and hear what we did with the Wrangler 392. We're super psyched about this system, and we love the fact that Dodge put a 6.4 liter naturally aspirated Hemi into a Wrangler. It was about time that they did that, and we're super psyched for you guys to get our system. Please let us know what you think, send us some feedback, and go have some fun with your Wrangler.